Alright, my name's Kevin Dwayne Hughes. I'm going to start going over a Qi ball routine. This is QiGong. It's designed to help you check the status of the Qi flowing out of your hands. And yes, you can feel it after you've done it for long enough. Anyhow, to begin this routine, start with the feet shoulder width apart. Soften the knees, relax. And what we're going to do is we're just come up like we're going to grab a ball. And right in front of the lower C of elixir, the lower dantian, here, you're going to lift this ball up all the way up until you're looking at it. Now notice, as I come up, my head follows. So I'm looking down at it, and I keep looking at the ball. Now I'm going to rotate that ball in front, here. I'm going to pull that ball down. I'm going to pull it off to one hip. Notice I'm still looking down. I'm going to roll it over and take it around to the other hip. Roll it over, bring it back to the center. Reorient the ball in front of the lower C of elixir down here. So again, starting from the beginning, you grab the ball of elixir, follow it up, looking through and rotating, pulling the ball down. Now notice my hand can rotate as I pull it to my hip, round to the other hip, back to the middle, center, reorient and up. Now I'm going to rotate the ball in front of me the opposite direction so that when I lower it, it goes to the opposite hip from the first time. And then back to center and reorient. And we're going to go through, and I'm going to start over and slowly add parts so that you can learn this as you go along with me. Starting again. So we grab the ball, bringing it up. We observe the ball as we rotate it in front of us. Lower the ball down, taking it to the left hip. So I don't know if I'm mirror image or not on the video. Left hip to right hip. Back to middle, reorient. Ball comes up. Rotate again. Lower the ball down. This time we're going to go to the right hip. Over to the left hip. Reorient the ball. Bring the ball up. This time what we're going to do, we're going to hold here, but we're going to lean off to our right as the ball goes to our left. So we're rotating the waist to the left. Back up to the other side. Back to center. Lower the ball down. Orient the ball so you can pull it to the hip. So basically this hip thing we're going to do in between each exercise. Reorient the ball up. Now we're going to lean off to our left. Looking at the ball. Back to center. Lean off to the right. Back to center, lower it down, this time to the right hip. Over to the left. And back to center. And reorient the ball. Alright, the next two exercises we're going to involve helps loosen up the rotation of the spine. So again, starting from the beginning, you're loose. You grab the ball, it goes up past the lower dantian, rising it up. Rotating the ball in front of the head. Lower the ball down, taking it to the left. Then to the right. Now notice we're always starting with the left first into the right. Reorient up. Rotate the ball the opposite manner of what you did the first time. Lower it down over to the right and then to the left. Back to the center. Up. We lean to the right, but that's because we're taking the ball to the left. Back to center. We lean to the left to take the ball to the right. Back to center. Lower the ball down to the left hip, to the right hip, back to center and reorient. Up. Now we're going to lean to our left to take the ball to the right, so we're doing the opposite of the first repetition. Down to the right hip, then to the left. Reorient. Now we're going to raise the ball up. We're going to lean our shoulders slightly to the left, and we're going to do a small little circle. Once we hit the center, we straighten back up. Then we lean to the right and do a small little circle, concentrating the orbit of the spine at the intersection of the thoracic and lumbar spine. Orient the ball to go to the left, to the right, back to center, reorient, and come up. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to lean off to the right and do a small little circle. Small little circle the other way. Lower back down now to the right hip, to the left hip, reorient. All right, we have one more thing to add, and then we're done with section 1. So section 1 is just designed to increase the amount of energy flowing. The reason why we're doing all this stuff with the spine is because that's the major energy pathway within your body. So we got to loosen the spine up to maximize the flow through the spine. All right, so starting in from the beginning and then adding on the last part of section 1 before we go into section 2, which is trying to feel the chi between your hands. All right, so for the last movement in section 1, we're going to grab the ball again. First part is to rotate the ball in front of your head, to the left hip, to the right hip, and keep an eye out that I'm always watching the ball with my eyes. Rotating the opposite direction, right hip to left hip. Reorient, raise the ball up, lean to the right so I take the ball to the left, and then do the other side. Lower the ball, take it to the left hip, to the right hip, back to middle, up, opposite. So leaning off so you go to the right, and leaning off so you go to the left. Lower the ball, right hip to left hip. Reorient, raise the ball up. Start by leaning to the left, doing a small orbit around the thoracic lumbar junction, then off to the left, and realize as I come here, I'm leaning forward and I straighten back up. It's not much of a movement now. Bring it down to the left hip, to the right hip. Now we're going to do everything starting with the right side. So we're going to do off to the right, small little orbit. Off to the left, small little orbit. Lower it down, right hip to left hip. Back to center and orient. The last part of this section, we're going to do the same sort of rotation. As I lean, my hip's going to pop out, and I'm going to orbit the hip and the shoulders opposite of each other. So if my shoulders are leaning to the left, my hips are going to the right. If I'm leaning to the right, the hips are going to the left. If I'm leaning forward, the hips are going back. If I'm leaning back, the hips are going forward. So we've got the ball. We're going to lean off the right, hips are going to go out. I'm going to do a deep circle about the lumbar spine. And since I'm bending forward, I have to straighten back up. And then I start going the other way. So now I lean to the right. I do a deep circle around the lumbar spine, straighten back up. Lower the ball to the left hip, then to the right. Back to center. Raise the ball up. Now we got to do the opposites. Now we're going to start here. Lean to the right, hips go to the left, going back and all the way around to the front. Straighten back up. Now start with the left. All the way around. Straighten back up. Lower the ball down. Pull it to the right hip. Take it around to the left hip. Back and reorient. Okay, so that is section 1. So now we're ready to begin section 2. So you just came back around here. For section 2, you're going to keep down here in front of the lower C of elixir, the lower dantian, and now you're going to pull and compress. Your knees are going to rise and sink with each one. So you're breathing in, breathing out. And you're going to do this 5 times. Total of 5 times on this exercise here. Okay, after you're done with the 5th one, you go into an exercise where you're now stretching the energy up and down. But before we proceed, I need you to see something here. So in your hand, if you curl your fingers up like this, you'll see there's a deep point. The deepest point in your palm when your fingers are curled up like that. That deepest point is our focal point for these exercises. So in other words, I got that point on both sides. When I'm pulling apart, I want to keep those 2 points right across from each other. So a common beginner mistake is to go here like this, and the hands come back and apart. We want to keep the hands right in front of each other, traveling on the exact same line. That way we keep this point in the middle of, it's not the middle of the palm, but this point found at the bottom of this well here, each aligned with each other. All right, so I'm not going to review section 1 again, so if you need to, when I save the live video, go back and watch section 1 in the saved live video feed. So section 2, we get done with our hip rotation, bring it here, we expand and contract. So here you're breathing in, exhaling as you contract. The second exercise, so after you get done with your fifth one, what you're going to do is you're going to turn it over so the left hand is on top. You're going to stretch. Now, there's something going on with your spine too, but I'll explain that in a minute. You're going to expand. So this hand's going to drop, this hand's going to rise. And notice the fingers curl up, just like how I showed that well. You're going to expand like this. Both hands are doing it, so you're stretching the back of the wrist as well as you're doing this. But keep those 2 points in the palms, one on top of the other. The other thing you do is as you rise, you expand, you rotate the shoulder like that. And then you bring the shoulders back in line as you compress. So you're inhaling as you expand, exhaling as you compress. Then after you've done that 5 times, you roll it over. Exact same exercise, just other side. And you do that one 5 times. Once you've done that 5 times, now we're ready to start fine-tuning in so that you can try to feel the chi between your hands. So we've got done with our fifth one here. Now you're going to orient your hands right in front of your solar plexus here. But see, my hands are 90 degrees to each other. You don't want to be here. You want to keep them 90 degrees. We're going to do circles and all sorts of things. And while you're doing that, keep them oriented 90 degrees. And every time you pass, keep that point I showed you on the palm of the hand passing over each other. So after you're done with your fifth one of these, you orient the ball, orient your hands, and then you're going to expand. You're going to come apart, breathing in, sinking down, breathing out. And as you breathe out, you're going to slowly cross, and you're going to quickly, you're not going to go quick like that. You're going to go relatively quicker. So you're going to expand and then slow down as you cross. Inhale, exhale. And you're going to do that 5 times. When you get done with the fifth one, you're going to come up here, and now those points that are pointed out in the palm of the hand, the one at the bottom of the well there, you can put those 2 right on top of each other, hands staying oriented 90 degrees, hands kind of at an angle like you see them on the video. And you're going to start doing a small little circle around those points on the palm. So you're going to have those 2 little points kind of orbit around each other. And you're going to go nice and slow. Then as you go through, you're going to start to add a little wobble to your wrists as they're going over each other. Now as a beginner, you may just want to make the circle without the wobble. But as you become more advanced, eventually add the wobble in. And you're going to do that about 5 times, 10 times, how many times you want. Then, after you've done that, then you go out there and you're going to make bigger circles where you're actually orbiting the whole hand around each other. Basically the ball from the beginning, you've compressed it down to this little itty bitty tiny marble. And so we're going to slowly work it out until we're back out here to feeling that whole ball in our hands again. Only this time in the beginning, you probably don't even know there's a ball there. But by the time you get to here, then you should start to feel something between your hands. Very absolute beginners may not feel anything there because, well, they're beginners. After a while, you'll be doing this and you'll start to feel heat between your hands. Then as you get more and more experience, you'll start to feel like a magnetic bubble, like when you take 2 north poles of a magnet, you try to push the 2 north poles together, and it kind of slips over this invisible bubble. You'll start to feel that between your hands. Then as you get more and more advanced, you'll be feeling that heat, the magnetic bubble, and your hands will tingle while you're doing it. Then at the end, you'll feel the heat, the magnetic bubble, the hands will tingle, and the hands will seem bigger and heavier than they really are. But those are just stages of advancement as you do these exercises. Also, at first, you may have to be this close to feel what I'm talking about. But as you get more advanced, you'll be able to get out to here and be able to feel what I'm talking about. As the flow of chi in the body increases, you'll be able to feel more and more and more. Anyhow, so that concludes the exercise. So you get done, and once you're all satisfied, you stop. Usually I do this exercise with people. I don't tell them, hey, we're checking our chi here. I usually just do the exercise with people people be doing what I told them, and there are people coming for like 6 months, they'll be here like this, and all of a sudden they'll start staring at their hands, and they'll look at me and look around the room and stare at their hands, and I go, yeah, okay, you figured it out. That's the way my teacher taught me. My teacher didn't tell me what we were doing. I was just here doing the exercise, and all of a sudden I was like, what is that? And at first I was skeptical. I thought maybe, well, maybe my hands are just so close together that my brain thinks they should be touching, but they're not touching, so my brain's confused as to where my hands are in space, and that's why I think I'm feeling something there. But as I continue to do the exercise, I noticed, hey, I can be way out here and feel that effect now. And then as I started investigating more and I asked my instructor about it, what in the world's going on, he explained to me that's the chi field. But anyhow, as I said on other videos, if you follow me on other social media platforms, the bumpkus about no-touch knockouts and being able to go like this and people across the road get knocked over, that's all BS. That's bumpkus. That's crap. Chi is just a cumulative term for all the energy systems in your body. So when I'm doing QiGong, I'm just trying to increase the efficiency of how my body uses energy within the body. That's all it is. Anyhow, let me go through the whole routine one time from beginning to end, and then I'm going to close up this live feed. If anyone left any questions, I'll get to those questions later. But anyhow, starting out, you start with knees soft. You grab the ball, raise the ball up. You rotate. You should be breathing, doing QiGong breathing exercises. If you don't understand how to do QiGong breathing exercises, keep following me. I will make some instructional videos on those in the near future. Raise the ball up, rotate it the other way. Remember, left side first, then repeat on the right side, or mirror on the right side. Okay, technique 2, we're going to lean to the right so the ball goes to the left. Then we always go to the left hip first and the right hip. Now we go up and we mirror what we just did, so we go lean to the left so the ball goes to the right. And then the opposite. Lower the ball to the right, then to the left. Reorient up. We call these our thoracic circles because we're orbiting at the thoracic lumbar junction. Then we go the other direction. Lower to the left and right. Do your mirror. Lower, right then left. Raise it up. Now we're going to do our lumbar, our deep lumbar circles. Lower it to the left and to the right. Up. Now we're going to start do the mirrors to the right, going around. Up. Lower to the right, to the left. Now we're ready here. So we come out here, orient, keeping it in front of the lower dantian, expand and contract. Okay, the breathing becomes even more critical here. Just make sure you're breathing in as you expand, exhaling as you contract. Okay, I think that was number 3. I lost count. 4, 5. At the end of the 5th one, we turn over so the left is on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Orient, other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to orient here or separate. So this is 1, and then slow down as you're exhaling. 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end of 5, now we're going to do small little orbits. 1, 2, 3. And here you're not coordinating the breath, but you keep the breath going. Slow inhales, exhale. Get to do 5, 6. I don't care. You can do 100 repetitions if you want here. As you get down with the 5 small ones, and go to 5 bigger ones. And with each rotation, keep going ahead and see how far out you can get and feel that magnetic bubble. If you don't feel the magnetic bubble, keep it close. Try to feel heat. If you don't feel heat, just keep practicing. And then after you're done, you lower the arms and relax. Now, a lot of mistakes beginners make. You need to keep it 90 degrees to get the most effect at feeling what I'm talking about. If you go off even by that much, it becomes much harder to feel. And what I like to do, since it's an energy field, when you use polarized lenses on light, if you take one lens that's polarized, the other lens is polarized, you put one on top of the other, the same amount of light still gets. So you only get 50% extinction. But if I take one and turn it 90 degrees and put one on top of the other, you get 100% interference. None of the light gets through. So that's the same thing here. Here I have minimum interference. At 90 degrees, I have maximum interference between the fields of the two hands. So if you keep it at 90 degrees, you increase your chances of feeling the sensation I'm talking about. If you don't feel anything, check. Make sure. A lot of people, they'll start rotating, and as they rotate, their wrist will rotate with it. Next thing you know, they're not 90 degrees anymore. Try to keep it 90 degrees throughout the entire rotation. If you don't feel anything now, no problem. Like I said, I've had students coming for 6 months before they even felt anything. But once they feel it from that point on. And again, like I said, I don't tell them what to be feeling. I just let them go until I see that light bulb go on, where they're sitting there going, oh my goodness, what is that? Is anyone else? And start seeking around the room for validation that they're not the only one experiencing what they're experiencing. But anyhow, please ask questions, leave questions. I'll check questions, and I'll try to make responses to the questions. Right now, it's time for me to teach my in-person classes. I'm not teaching QiGong in person. I'm getting ready to teach Okinawan Karate in person. But anyhow, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave questions. I would love to answer them. And I'll go live again sometime in the near future, and I'll make a post on Facebook when that will be. All right, take care. See y'all later. God bless.